Before we get things started here on a Friday with the Michigan Football Report, I want to ask you guys to subscribe if you haven't. I want to get to 12,000 subscribers. Make it a little Christmas present from you to me by subscribing. Really appreciate all the growth in the channel and some of the influence in the channel. I feel like the show's talked about a lot outside of YouTube, which is great to see. It's all because of you guys who continue watching it. And the more you watch, the more subscribers, the more resources we have to bring you more shows. It is the Michigan Football Report, self-produced on a Friday, trying to teach myself how to produce, so forcing myself to doing it. We're coming up right now. Welcome into the show. I am your host, as always, James Yoder. Want to kind of take you through some of the top rumors and news I am hearing surrounding the Michigan football program here on a Friday, 2 days after National Signing Day. You see it at the bottom of my screen. Rumor number one is that Michigan is exploring defensive coordinator candidates and have been doing so all week, and have been told that Don Brown knows this and maybe wasn't as committal with some of the recruits down the stretch. I don't know that for a fact. That's just speculation. Some people have told me, but might be the reason why Michigan lost a couple recruits on the defensive side of the ball. And Michigan has been quietly, Jim Harbaugh in particular, and folks he knows, and quietly putting out feelers for potential defensive coordinator candidates, whether or not those guys want to bring their own staffs in, retain some of the folks that Michigan has on staff, like Sean Nua, Mike Sordich. Clearly not Bob Shoop, given that he's never really been a part of this staff, but made his impact known around the University of Michigan football program. I will say that for sure. So rumor number one, we are exploring defensive coordinator candidates. I'm going to go into who I think might be the top candidate here in a second. Before I do, I'll ask you guys who will be the defensive coordinator in 2021. Could still be Don Brown, right? Friday afternoon here, looking at about, what time is it? About like 5 o'clock Eastern-ish. Don Brown's still the defensive coordinator. Jim Harbaugh still hasn't signed a contract, so maybe he won't return as coach. Who knows what will happen there? So comment Don Brown. You can comment a candidate you like that you think about. Might be one of the guys I talk about here in a second. Or maybe it's a defensive coordinator at another program right now that's going to come in with his head coach that takes the job if you think Jim Harbaugh will not return as Michigan's coach. So predict below. I'm going to make this the pinned comment beneath the video, and as such, want to make sure you guys go answer it. You might get hit with a YouTube ad break there, so that's why we do that. Go out and answer it while the ad plays. You can answer the question. By the time you come back up, the ad hopefully will be done. You can get back to the show. And while you're getting back to the show, make sure you subscribe. Make sure you follow me on Twitter at James Yoder. If you're following me on Twitter, make sure you let me know you're an MFer. MFR, Michigan Football Report. Watch the show. Let me know. I've just been really blown away by how many people have tweeted that at me, so keep it going. I want to follow as many of you guys back as possible. So if you watch the show, I'll know it by you telling me you're an MFer, and you tweeted at me. I'll hit you back with a retweet and with a follow. It's at James Yoder on Twitter. Rumor number two, Derek Mason, defensive coordinator, top candidate. I can verify this. These sources are coming from Michigan, a couple of these defensive coordinator things. But what happens this time of the year is agents get involved, right? They're trying to get their clients a new job if they've been fired, like Derek Mason was, spending the last, 14, 15, 16, I guess 7 seasons at Vanderbilt, right? 2014, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, yeah. For 6.5 seasons, I guess he got fired mid-season there at Vanderbilt. Took over for James Franklin, actually. But Jim Harbaugh has a history with him, right? Jim Harbaugh hired Derek Mason as his defensive backs coach at Stanford in Harbaugh's final season there in 2010. It was a very successful team. I think had the college football playoff existed then, I think that Stanford team with Andrew Luck as a redshirt sophomore would have had a very strong chance at getting some revenge against Oregon, who beat them earlier in the year. Auburn was a team that was up there that year, and some others. Ironically, that's one of the few years Alabama's had, I think one of 2 years Alabama's had 3 losses. In the last 11, 12 seasons. So in 2010, I think that defensive backfield was very strong for Stanford. He got the promotion the next year when Harbaugh moved on to the NFL, to Stanford. He was co-defensive coordinator in 2011, and then the main defensive coordinator at Stanford in 2012, 2013. Some great results, right? Now, he came into it wasn't a stacked deck, right? Stanford went 7-5, I think it was, 8-5 in 2009. So he comes in, leads them to a 12-1 season, right? As defensive, not leads them, but was part of a 12-1 season. Gets the co-defensive coordinator role in 2011. Stanford goes 11-2. Pretty good. 2012, 12-2. 2013, 11-3. That third loss being in the bowl game. So 11-2 regular season. 2 back-to-back. 2011, 2012, 2013, back-to-back Pac-12 titles. Won a Rose Bowl, and of note, in 2012, very late in the season, he was the defense coordinator for a team that beat Chip Kelly and Oregon, where they ranked number 1 in the country. So his defenses didn't turn out maybe as well and strong as you think they should have when he was at Vanderbilt. But I think his 5-year run at Stanford, 2010, 11, 12, 13, I guess it's a 4-year run, whatever it is, was very strong. Jim Harbaugh knows him. He's a guy who's looking for a job. Michigan can pay a high salary. I think this one makes a lot of sense. So if Jim Harbaugh hires him, if Jim Harbaugh is the coach here, I think it's one I can get behind. What else I can get behind is BetUS, 125% deposit bonus. Bringing back the jersey deal for Christmas to make sure you guys have a little more incentive to use BetUS as your preferred sports book. The Supreme Court made sports betting no longer illegal in the United States. The state of Michigan got sportsbooks going as well. We have the best offer for you. 125% deposit bonus using that promo code GOBLUE at chatsports.com/GOBLUE. And if you use the promo code GOBLUE, we are going to hook you up with a Michigan football jersey, Jordan brand, embroidered Jordan logo, number 4. But if you want another one, if you want to try like a Tom Brady jersey or a couple of other ones, there are a few other available. But we, by default, we'll send you the number 4 that Michigan promotes at the MDN. That Jordan is their main one. So use the promo code GOBLUE, sign up and deposit for a new customer with BetUS. $100 minimum deposit, by the way. You got to use the promo code $100 minimum deposit. Then you need to email GOBLUE at chatsports.com to redeem your jersey. Chatsports, we send you the Michigan football report, the jersey ourselves. That's our part of the deal. You guys can get going with BetUS and then email us, GOBLUE at chatsports.com to redeem the jersey. Rumor number 3, Daxton Hill's future. I have been told right now it is 50-50 that Michigan, if they want to have Dax Hill remain a part of this program, they better do 3 things. Decide who the defensive coordinator is. That's 1. Get a safeties coach. They have not had a safeties coach for Dax Hill's 50% of his career. Can you believe that? 2 seasons, one of them, he just went out with a coach, right? Bob Shoop did something that, look, I don't know all the details, so I'm not going to speculate on it yet, but I'm this close. If you're watching, you Michigan football staffers trying to keep me away from this information, it wasn't something good, okay? Let me just tell you that. I don't know every detail, but I know the fact that Michigan hasn't, publicly fired him, I think is reprehensible. But Michigan, let him do this thing that got him pushed away from the program, but didn't replace him, right? They had some, grad assistant, whatever, took the job. That's unacceptable, right? You can make a coaching hire mid-season if you want to, or in August, September. You can go out and offer a guy money to come. There are plenty also of qualified coaches that have to take a year off because they get fired, their head coach gets fired, they don't get a job right away. So it was unacceptable that Michigan went this entire year with just basically a grad assistant style staffer to coach Daxton Hill. So get a defensive coordinator, figure out who that is, get a safeties coach, and number 2, both those guys and Jim Harbaugh need to re-recruit Daxton Hill because he is definitely, without question, unequivocally considering his options, looking around, wants to be an NFL draft pick. He's eligible for the draft after the 2021 season. I'm sure he had plans of going pro after 3 years. It's not trending that way. He wouldn't be drafted in the first 2 or 3 rounds at all at this point if he has another season like this year. So I think Michigan has a lot of, butt kissing to do when it comes to Daxton Hill. So I asked you the question, just predict below. Let me know, will Daxton Hill return? I'm going to say no at this point. I want to know from you guys. I'm going to say no. I think he didn't look like he was enjoying playing after the first game or 2. I think his play suffered throughout the year. And I think he's probably regretting seeing how many players Alabama's putting in the NFL every single year, consistently winning all the time. Everything going right in that program. I think he's regretting a little bit that he picked Michigan, to be frank. And so I don't know if it's Alabama he's going to transfer to, but I wouldn't be surprised if he transferred somewhere that has a better history with putting guys from the secondary safety into the NFL, and just doesn't have the chaos that Michigan's had over the last 12 months, specifically the last 4 or 5 months, on the defensive side of the ball with their coaching staff. Next up, and this one boggles my mind, I'm told that there was at least some communication between handlers for Michigan, whatever that means, and the agent or representative of Nick Sheridan about whether or not, if the offensive coordinator role came open for Michigan with Jim Harbaugh as the coach, whether or not Nick Sheridan would be a top candidate or the top candidate, whether or not he should be considering, that job should have come available. And what apparently Sheridan's reps were told back was that Jim Harbaugh didn't think he had been proven enough, wants to see him really, thinks he's a great OC and can really do some things in the future. Maybe he can be head coach in Michigan one day, but he hasn't proven it for long enough. It's only been one season. It was only 5 or 6 games. And in Jim Harbaugh's defense, maybe he doesn't want to make the same mistake twice that he made with Josh Gas, hiring a guy who's had a limited window of period. But did we see Indiana's offense throw for 500 yards against Ohio State, then go and do it with a backup quarterback against a few other teams, and then they beat Wisconsin, right, with a backup quarterback? I thought their offense looked great passing the ball with a guy in Michael Penix Jr. I don't think is actually that great of a passer, yet he still threw for 500 yards against Ohio State. So for Jim Harbaugh to say that, maybe he's protecting Josh Gas until Gas is officially released from the job, and whether that happens or not, I couldn't say yet. But the fact that you would potentially say Nick Sheridan, who has proven it or at Indiana as their quarterback's coach and now as his first year as their OC, he's proven it for years now. Gas had 1 year as a co-OC, non-player caller. So maybe you don't want to make the mistake again, but to say it's because he hasn't proven it because he only had 1 season, that's exactly what everyone told you about Josh Gattis. So I think Jim Harbaugh, if that's coming from him, seems a little disingenuous and frankly a little puzzling. I think Nick Sheridan would be a great choice given everything I know about Michigan's program, Nick Sheridan, where he probably wants to be, and the kind of offense he ran at Indiana. And frankly, hell, bring Mike Carter along with him because Jim Harbaugh, your son Jay, just really hasn't gotten it done throughout this time as Michigan's running backs coach, especially in 2020. Ask you guys to do this. If you want Nick Sheridan to be Michigan's next offensive coordinator, whether it's this year coming up in 2021 or in the future if Josh Gattis moves on after next season, if Jim Harbaugh ends up doing it, take a drink here, get a little tickle. Like the video. If you like Sheridan, want him to return home, be the next in the line of Michigan football coaches like Les Miles, Jim Harbaugh, the next guy to rise to the cream of the top crop and take Michigan's offense, do something they haven't been able to do against Ohio State, drop 500 yards passing on him like he did with Indiana this year. Go ahead and like this video. Really appreciate it. Helps out the video. Makes us get more audience. Also, lets me know how many of you guys actually feel that way and agree with me on Nick Sheridan being the most viable candidate to be Michigan's next offensive coordinator. Number 5. So I got this tickle in my throat now. Wrap this one up quickly. Jedd Fisch, Michigan's passing game coordinator in 2015, 2016. Potentially willing to hear Jim Harbaugh out if willing to discuss. But I was told his representatives have told any team inquiring he wants to wait 2 weeks and a couple days until the Patriots season is over until he will consider any other role. So if it would happen, it wouldn't be until at least after the first of the year until the Patriots season is over, and we'll see what happens then. I think Jedd Fisch would also be a really great hire.